Good afternoon, everyone. All the members of the town council are here with the exception of Mr. Hinman, who was excused. We also have Mr. Gravier, our town manager, Terry Tiemann, assistant town manager, Molly Daisy, our town clerk, and Will Wharton, our IT specialist. Would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any,
Yeah, Mayor, I'd like to make a couple of revisions. About item number E, we had an executive meeting on February 13th, and minutes were passed out. We'd like to vote on that. And under reports, there was no Budget and Finance Committee after the last meeting.
okay,
So we changed those two.
okay, thank you, Mr. Morris. With that, is everybody okay with the agenda? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is minutes of the workshop held on February 13th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion, changes? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Approval of the minutes of the special meeting held on February 13th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Do the executive meeting.
Aye.
And the next item on the agenda, approval of the minutes of the executive session held on February 13th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Approval of the regular meeting held on February 17th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
The next item on the agenda is approval of the financial report. Mr. Morris?
Yes, Mayor. This report covers the budget through February 28th, 2023. We are 92% through fiscal year 2023. On the operating revenue side, real estate and transfer tax and rental taxes continue to be above budget. To date, we have collected 103% of the 0.9% of the budget compared to 119 this time last year. On the expense side, our operating expenses also continue to be higher than last year. We have expended 90.9% of our budget compared to 84.9% this time last year. Recognizing that this report is subject to audit, I respectfully move that the council accept and approve this unaudited report.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next on the agenda, we have announcement, recognition of visitors, and public comment. Does anyone have any announcements? Okay. Does anyone here have anything, any comment on any item that's not on the agenda today? Okay, well, moving right on. Report from the Planning and Zoning Commission. Mr. Boswell?
Is not here.
Okay. Do you have a report? No?
Oh, here he comes. Did we,
The new secretary.
this is the new secretary, yeah. We woke him up.
John Gahn, Vice Chairman. Had I known that I was making the report, I would have dressed better, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. Planning Commission met February 18th. Completed chapters 9 through 11 of the comprehensive plan, which then led to the special meeting that you had. We are meeting tomorrow. We have a partitioning request and hopefully final discussion on the draft comprehensive development plan. Any questions?
Thank you very much,
You're
Mr. Gahn. Next, we have a report from the Cultural and Historical Affairs Committee. Ms. Olmsted.
Thank you, Mayor.
The Cultural and Historical Affairs Committee met on March 8th. The committee was provided with an update on the Seaside Craft Show that will be held on the Bethany Beach Boardwalk and accompanying streets on Saturday, June 3rd this year. The jury has selected the applicants for the show, and excuse me, and the Seaside Committee will now be putting the final plans in place with, of course, the invaluable assistance of the Bethany Beach Police Department and the Public Works Department. The cultural evening that was held this past Wednesday here in the Town Hall meeting room was discussed on March 8th, a week before that occasion. The people, everybody who was here in attendance on Wednesday enjoyed the show, enjoyed the speaker, Denise Clemens, who has written a book, I think, about, I know about the cuisine of Southern Delmarva. She was a very engaging speaker and shared with us, among other things, her suggestions for preparing muskrat, which is also apparently regularly on the menu over at the Southern Cafe in Ellendale, if anybody's interested. The committee discussed, continued their discussion, actually, of possible criteria changes for homes being included in the Heritage Trail. We have researched other towns and cities and states throughout the country and how they handle including properties on their historical, deciding on their historical properties. We also discussed other ideas for telling the stories of properties and even families that have been long time associated with Bethany Beach. I think that the museum has brought a lot of people's attention to the history of Bethany Beach. We're getting a lot more requests about people's properties being included, and they don't all meet the criteria that we've already established. So that's why we're trying to come up with ways that people can feel that yes, we want to hear your stories, and we'd love to have you included in some way. And we also discussed having off-season tours of the Heritage Trail. Most of the properties at this time are within the block between Atlantic Avenue and the beach, and but some of them are a little bit further away, and there's quite a bit of walking involved to see all of the homes. So we're talking about having trolley tours off season, of course, when the trolley is not engaged with bringing beachgoers to the beach. Excuse me. We finally discussed Perrier Day, July 27th, 2023, the date that was chosen and approved by the town council many years ago in recognition of our sister city in Normandy. That date was chosen because it was the day that the United States Army 90th Division liberated that town. And that's all.
Any questions? Thank you very much, Ms. Homestead. And by the way, that program on Wednesday night was really very, very good. And
Very good done.
Jerry loves the cookbook.
Yeah.
So, thank you. The next item on the agenda is a report from the town manager, Mr. Gravier.
Mayor, there's nothing you can do to muskrat to make it taste good. We've talked a number of times over the past year about possibly moving a significant portion of the town to plastic trash bins, if you will, the large 90-gallon bins. They're ubiquitous everywhere with commercial trash pickup. We feel that there's probably a potential benefit with manpower in Public Works. We'll be able to utilize those people that are on the truck, especially during the summer with the number of trucks we run in other places, and probably help us with our issues with seasonal employees. We've had conversations with the HOA in Lake Bethany, and working with them, we should have a letter out to all the members, residents of Lake Bethany in the next, in the neighborhood. Those problems have been heightened by the fact that the right-of-way on both Evans and Tingle is only 30 feet wide. And the number of trucks, construction trucks and employee trucks needed to build really a total of 6 homes simultaneously has really overwhelmed the neighborhood. The police department and code enforcement has done all they can, but probably not to some people's satisfaction, but they're working at it, and has presented a very unusual set of problems for that very small neighborhood. Over the last several months, the water department has been aggressively, as they always do, working on fixing their different leaks and new hookups, and that has resulted in a good number of issues on blacktop throughout our community, Savannah's Landing, and also in Lake Bethany. We have not been able to take care of those patches because the asphalt companies, the plants have been shut down. They'll go operational here in the next week or two, and the water company is expecting to be able to have those patches made. We've had a number of people calling us concerned that the patches have not been done yet, but it's coming as soon as the plants are up and operational. Beach replenishment, we've been talking about it the last 2 or 3 months. We had hoped to have a startup sometime here, March or April. We know that they're going to begin to work in Rehoboth and work their way south. We were hopeful that they would be mobilized and starting the work in Rehoboth by now, which portends well for us, but they have not begun at all. There are a number of trucks up and down the beach from some of the vendors that are doing assessments of the dune, reassessing what needs to be done with some of the additional sand we've lost, but no sight of Weeks Marine yet here on the Delaware coast. We've had a dialogue in the last several months with the Christian church across the street regarding the potential of taking this piece of property right here on the corner and making it a municipal parking lot. We've been back and forth a couple of times with them. We've had a fairly positive response in the recent weeks. We'll be meeting with representatives from the church and our engineers to see what kind of a layout we might be able to accomplish there. I don't know if we'll be successful in getting that done before the summer or not, but maybe as the summer is going on, we'll have it up and operational. Last month, I mentioned that we had completed our boring assessment, our soil study, if you will, of the town. And that study consisted of 40 separate bores located throughout the town to try to determine composition of soil under the surface layer. Interestingly enough, of the 40 bores, and probably not surprising, in the 0 to 2 foot range from the surface down to 2 feet, not one bore came up dry. All the bores were wet. Wow. And if you take a look at what point in time you hit a point of saturation, the average for those 40 bores was 3.2 feet for saturation throughout the community. So that means you dig the hole, groundwater saturated, the hole fills up. And some areas, for instance, Gibson, right off the canal, the entire street is at saturation level, at street level. So it's a very interesting study. I think it helps us have a better understanding of why some of our areas don't drain well and why we have a lot of standing water, because there's essentially nowhere for it to go. On that report, I think the council has it, and I believe the Stormwater Committee has it. It also talks about groundwater levels, and there's a wide variation in town of actual groundwater levels. So it's an interesting report, and I think it has a lot of implication for the town. Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions? I had, well, go ahead.
Yeah,
No.
Well, actually, it's more for informational purposes, because there's really nothing much we could do because of the nature of the town where it's located, correct?
Correct. And but one of the things it does is help us explain to those people that don't understand why that water sits in the swale all the time, because that's the groundwater level, saturation level.
Yeah.
I noticed that after we've had all that, the complaints about the building on Tingle and everything, that Evergreen has posted its hours of when workers are allowed to be there and not, because that was part of the problems, too.
Yes, but then they also had some deliveries being made and porta-johns being emptied at 6 o'clock in
That's
the
it,
morning,
yeah.
a host of things
Yeah.
being done, so.
Okay. There's nothing under old business, new business. We have discussion, consideration, and possible vote on the budget for fiscal year 2024 and a schedule of fees. Mr. Morris.
Thank you, Mayor. The Budget and Finance Committee recommends the approval of the 2024 budget. The budget has been available for the public on the town's website, at the town hall, and we had a public hearing this past Monday for public comment. This proposal budget includes $12,780,000 in revenue, $10,938,000 in operating costs, $890,000 in capital projects, and $246,000 in debt repayments. Changes to taxes and fees in the budget include a 20% increase in hourly parking fees, daily and weekly parking fees, parking tickets, and shuttle bus permits, a 3% increase in property tax. We are waiving the 25% trolley fee. 25-cent trolley fee. The trolley will be free for this summer. Small adjustments to budget, to building fees and administration fees for town code violations and after-hour water service fees are also being increased. Excuse me. I make the motion that the council approve the budget and schedule of fees for the 2024 year.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Questions?
Other than physically, we're in great shape.
Fiscally, we're in great shape. Obviously, the operating costs continue to go up as everybody's home budget recognizes. Increases in diesel fuel for all of our vehicles, because we do have a sundry number of vehicles. Beach employees for the summer, and so forth and so on. So our operating costs are definitely going up, but we still are financially okay.
Good, thank you.
And everybody's been attending the budget meetings, so I think we all are very familiar with the increases and everything. Does anyone in the audience have any comment, or anyone attending have any comments? Okay. All right, hearing none, did you have a comment?
Nope.
No, okay. Hearing none, call for a vote on the motion to approve the budget for fiscal year 2024. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible vote on awarding concessions for exercise classes to be held during the summer season on the beach. Before you do that, Mr. Gravier, I just wanted to point out the great work that has been done on the budget and the whole budgeting process by both Mr. Gravier and Janet Conray, too. So thank you very much.
Most especially Janet Connery, who explains every year to me what the budget is, so.
She does.
Okay.
And she sits there and doesn't have to do anything. See, she can just listen.
That's the only
Because
time
she's
she
done
does.
such a great job.
I was going to say, it's the only time she doesn't have anything to do. She's very busy.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Gravier, sorry about that.
Mayor, we're awarding 4 concessions, and I will tell you that we don't have a minimum set fee for awarding a concession, nor do we make concessionaires for the type of events we're awarding here compete against each other. So these are 4 separate concessions, operating 3 on the beach and 1 at both the beach and the Nature Center. One is the Sunrise Yoga program, the Boot Camp on the Beach program, Pilates on the Beach program, and the Marine Science Camp. And you have all the background documentation in your packet. And if you would and want to award those, a motion to move that forward will be appreciated.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Anybody attending have any comments? Oh, the concession?
Yes. We have not gotten to the point where we do that with these exercise classes, no.
Are you interested in the exercise classes? Thank you very much. Okay, hearing none, no more comments? Are you finished, Mr. Almula? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. And the final item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible vote on a contract submitted by Pittsville Motors, Inc. for the purchase of a 2022 Ford F-150 personal police vehicle,
It's police pursuit vehicle.
Police
PP
pursuit.
PPV.
police pursuit vehicle in the amount of $45,719. Mr. Gravier.
So this is a 2022, and a little background story. The police department ordered in January of '22 a Tahoe to enter into the patrol service. That was January of '22, and they have just received notice this month that the truck is being built. When this is a purchase coming out of the '24 budget, there are monies in that budget for the purchase, and this is a sole source purchase from Pittsville Motors as opposed to the state contract. Number one, because they had a truck available, and number two, because it is less money than, less dollars than the state contract actually presents for this vehicle. So this vehicle will go to admin, my vehicle will go to the police department, and the police department's vehicle will go to Public Works as we do our rotations in cars and trucks here.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion, any questions?
I'm a little confused. You said this is the PPV was personal, police vehicle?
It's rated. They have a system of ratings so that you can enter them into your patrol fleet, probably for insurance purposes. There's an organization that
Okay.
rates them as SPV, Special Police Vehicle, which shouldn't be on patrol, and a PPP vehicle, which is suspended and equipped in a certain way that it's drivable on patrol and can be insured.
So it could be used eventually
Yes,
as in the police
that's what
department?
will happen with it.
Okay.
Any other questions?
That's a great price.
Well, the MSRP is 49.7, 49.8, and the 45 is a good price, yes.
That's even,
I
and
said-
also the, as everyone knows, the availability of truck
Yes.
are unbelievable. Lack of their ashes.
And this is less than the state
It's
funded?
less than the state contract.
Does anyone in attendance have any comments or questions? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you very much, everyone. That's the last item on the agenda. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Is this a record?
it could be.
That's close.
Close.
Well, enjoy the rest of the day.
That's an efficient meeting.
Should we